everybody. I'm so excited to introduce you to my warrior friend, Emily. Awesome name, by the way. And fun fact before Emily shares some things about herself, Emily and I were connected because my sister is at the same church that Emily is at all the way out in California. So it's so cool how God just weaves stories together. And before we started recording her story today, I was like, Emily, give my sister Katie big hugs. So I love how that happens. But Emily, welcome to BecomingMeTV.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
Yeah. I'm so excited. Oh my goodness. And I've had the privilege of just getting to know you. So I can't wait for Becoming to get to hear your story and get to know you more. But to kick it off, why don't you just share who is Emily?
Well, I am a wife of almost 8 years. Oh my gosh. I'm glad he's not here. And a mother of 3 little boys, 5, 2, and 8 months.
Cool.
So life is exciting and never a dull moment. I currently live in Orange, the city of Orange, California, but I'm originally from Idaho.
Okay.
I grew up in a really small farm town. We had one stoplight. I graduated with 120 people. So
No way.
yeah, very small town. Grew up in a great Christian family. My parents were worship leaders. Just me and my brother. We're really small, really tight. But I moved to California probably about 12 years ago because I was getting the itch to pursue my dream of singing. I'm a singer. Since I can remember, I've been involved with music. So I packed up my car, moved out to California, and didn't move to LA. I ended up in Orange County of all places, and met my husband, and so I'm still here. Thankfully, I sing out here too, but that's kind of just in a nutshell who I am. As far as singing goes, I've had some pretty awesome opportunities. Currently, I am a vocal director and I sing on the worship team at Saddleback Church in Lake Forest, home of Pastor Rick Warren, which is an amazing opportunity. But I've actually had some really incredible opportunities since I moved out here. I joined the vocal team at Saddleback as soon as I moved to California because I knew I had to get plugged in.
Cool.
And at the time, the vocal director was this up-and-coming arranger and contractor and choir director extraordinaire in Hollywood. And he took me under his wing and introduced me to this awesome world of session singing. And I honestly had never thought of it, but of course they're singing on albums, they're singing on TV shows, they're singing in movies. And thankfully he just took me in and showed me the ropes and kind of brought me up and taught me. So I've done some awesome things. God has been great. He's opened the door for me to do some cool things. I got to sing on Glee. I was part of the background vocals off camera.
Cool.
On Glee. That was probably my biggest TV show. The Pitch Perfect movies, I've done vocals.
That's so cool.
Yes. And then I don't know why, but the good Lord has had me on reality television with my voice, which is crazy. I was on the very first season of BET's Sunday Best. It's like the gospel version of American Idol.
Cool.
Which I don't even know how that happened. That was crazy. But I did that their first season and made it to the top 4. And then the CW had I don't know if you saw it. It was like a musical chairs meets Wipeout type video game or game show. And we were the band that provided the music. It lasted 2 seasons. It wasn't that big of a deal, but it was fun.
That's awesome.
And then most recently, actually 6 seasons, 3 years ago, I was actually on The Voice. I had the opportunity to go audition for The Voice, and I got some chairs to turn and was on Team Shakira for a few episodes. And that by far was the most amazing opportunity I've had. So singing is obviously a huge part of my life, and that's why I'm still here in California. Well, my husband's here and the kids and stuff, but so yeah, I still do that kind of stuff. So I'm very grateful.
That is so cool. Well, Emily, I've had the privilege of getting to know you and your story, and I'm excited for the next few minutes for you to just unpack that for us. So just share with us what your story is and your journey that's made you who you are today.
Okay. Well, as I mentioned, I moved to California to be a singer and to pursue my singing dreams. And got involved with church right away because I knew that would be an easy way to kind of stay grounded and, build some friendships since I was alone out here. But it was interesting. I found a great doctor. I had a good job at the time, and I was just at a routine eye exam, and they found growth on my eye. That thankfully, my optometrist was familiar with. She studied under someone who was obsessed with these types of growths. And she
Wow.
told me, I really want you to go to a specialist because I think you might have this rare condition called VHL. It's called von Hippel-Lindau syndrome. And I don't even hear for a couple years. And I was like, okay, that's weird, but sure, I'll go. So I go and see a specialist, and they order brain MRI and CT scans of my abdomen. And sure enough, come to find out, I've got these growths in my eye, my brain, my kidney, and my pancreas.
Wow.
And which was a shock. I mean, I just was going to get my prescription for my glasses, And so come to find out, I have this extremely rare disease called VHL. It's actually a cancer, a form of cancer, where your body, it creates too many blood vessels, and those blood vessels cluster up into little tumors. Most of the time they're benign, but the ones on the kidney and the pancreas can turn to cancer. They can turn, more serious if not treated, and they keep coming back. They don't know what causes it. They have no cure for it. I think I learned recently that one in 30,000 people get it, or something crazy like that. But there's only 36,000 people known in the world who have it, and only 10,000 of those are in the United States.
Oh my goodness.
So at the time, that was 2006-07 when I was diagnosed with that. It was a miracle, because the more I've learned about this, the more I realize people usually don't find out about this until they started having complications. Thankfully, because my doctor knew what she was talking about, I was able just to start getting monitored and you're supposed to go like once a year just to make sure things don't change. So I was at my yearly exam to get my brain MRI, and the local neurosurgeon pulled me in. This was in 2009. And he said, listen, there's two growths on your brain that we've been watching, one on your brainstem and one up in the left area. And we've noticed that there's been some change. They're starting to grow, and you're going to need surgery. He had no bedside manner. He was very cold, and he told me all these horror stories about what would happen if I didn't get the one on my brainstem operated. Of people he knew that this has happened to. And he just said, if you don't get it done and it grows or leaks, then you could get facial paralysis, vocal paralysis, you could die. I mean, it was just so, and I'm just like in shock. Yeah. It's funny. He said you could die, but the only thing I heard from that conversation was vocal paralysis.
Oh, no.
And I said, I'm sorry, did you say vocal paralysis? He said, yeah. And I was like, well, I'm a singer. And he was just like, pity, well. So that was a scary, scary appointment. And I knew right then I probably need to get a second opinion. It was right around when I was planning my wedding. I was just a few months away. Actually, no, I think I was a few weeks away from getting married.
Wow.
And it was devastating news. And at the time, it happened to be the worship conference at Saddleback Church. And I knew all my friends were there. It was a 5-minute drive. And I just jumped in my car. I was trying to hold it together and drove straight there, and immediately just told them I just broke down, and everybody prayed for me and surrounded me with amazing encouragement. And it was just an awesome place to go to. Then they immediately were like, okay, you're going to go up and sing, the song, Your Name.
Yeah.
So you're going to go up and sing this song right now. And I was like, I had, no makeup, just tears, stained face or whatever. And, they were like, get up there and go sing. This is the best way for you to take your worry and your fear to God, is to go offer this gift to him. And I did. It was the hardest thing I've ever had to do, but it was pretty awesome. In hindsight, I was like, I learned a good lesson there as far as, where to put your mind when you get scary things like that. But fast forward, I got married a few weeks later, which was awesome. My husband chose me, even though he knew I was broken. And in 2010, I went to UCLA. I had a second opinion, met with a phenomenal brain surgeon there who was familiar with my condition. And I had 2 brain surgeries. The first one was, I think it was about 13 hours long. And then they came back and said, we still have more to get out. So they went in and did another 4-hour surgery. And I mean, obviously I'm a miracle. It worked. I came out almost okay. But I met with a spiritual mentor of mine. I was really struggling with this idea of losing my voice, because even through surgery, if something went wrong, they're in the brainstem, and it's a serious spot to be operating on, and many bad things can happen. And they told me you could lose your voice. You could have facial and vocal paralysis from this. And I couldn't. That was the most devastating thing. I remember saying, God, of all the things you could take away from me, why would you take my voice? This is the one thing I love to do most. This is the gift you gave me. Why would you take that away? And a spiritual mentor I met with, a pastor, had said, you need to get something straight. He said, you are not identified by your voice. Your voice is not your identity. Who you are in Christ is your identity. And if God allows you to lose this, he's not going to be done with you. He's God, and he will find something great for you to still do. It may not be singing, but he's not done with you. And I sat there and just started crying. It was a hard pill to swallow, that I had to get over this fact that my whole life I was identified by my voice. From the time I was little, I was Emily the singer. And every move I made in my career and moving to California, that's who I was. I was a singer. And thankfully, I met with him early enough that I could really pray on that and really let that sink in before my brain surgery. I had some amazing friends who had held a prayer night for me a couple nights before surgery. Wow. They wrote down all these awesome, encouraging verses for me. And my husband read them to me over and over again right before I got wheeled back into have surgery. And what are you going to do in that situation? I remember looking back at him and tearing up and thinking, all right, Lord, this is in your hands and I trust you. And it was so scary, the most scared I've ever been in my life. And I came out of that surgery and I couldn't move because you go through that long of a surgery and just them tampering with your brain. Literally, my muscles were just so tight. I was in bed. I was bedridden. I got out in 5 days. It was amazing, the recovery. Wow. But the first few days I was immobile. And, perspective changes when you're lying in ICU and you can't move. And crazy enough, one of my vocal folds decided to be lazy and I couldn't talk. I lost my voice for about 5 to 6 weeks. They were going to get me into vocal therapy and start these treatments, but I just knew, I trusted. It wasn't because it was being intubated too long, not because of the actual surgery. So at that point though, I'm alive. I can recognize people. I feel like a miracle. Who cares about being able to talk right now? I didn't really care, but it was good for me to be in there. I felt like God and I had some really great conversations. I felt like he had me where he needed me to get my attention and to kind of wake me up. Since then, thankfully that was the most serious surgery I've been through. But like I mentioned before, with this disease, it's a constant thing. Thankfully, none have shown up on my brain again, but I've had numerous eye treatments. The growths keep coming back. For some reason, my right eye is the it's the black sheep. It always gets the growths. And about 4 years ago, all the scar tissue, they do laser treatments to take away the growths. So all the scar tissue started pulling on my retina, and my retina started to detach. And it's totally common. Most people go blind. And I had to have 4 surgeries to reattach my retina. And the doctors are amazing. UCLA is awesome. They saved my eye. My vision's really bad, but I have it at least. It's wow. Yeah. So I've had a growth removed from my kidney, and I'm constantly watching the kidneys and pancreas. So this is an ongoing thing. And it wasn't even until maybe a year ago that I could actually say the word cancer. I kept calling it a disease, and I was like, it's not cancer. And there's this awesome online community they actually call themselves VHL warriors. So I love that you use the term warrior because it's very personal to me.
Yes.
But I started meeting people. Actually, The Voice, right before The Voice happened, I got connected with their online forum and discovered their tumors. This is cancer. And I couldn't say it out loud because I was in denial. I thought cancer was chemotherapy, radiation, what I see so many people, friends and family go through. And it wasn't until then that I could actually say, well, I have cancer. I'm a cancer survivor. And it still feels crazy for me to say that. But the thing that stinks about this cancer is it doesn't go away. Like sometimes you can have remission from chemo and radiation. Well, that doesn't work for us. It's an ongoing battle. But I've seen God's sovereign hand on my life because the people I've met, there's a gentleman who is really big in the VHL community who lives in New York. And he has had, I think, close to 20 brain surgeries.
Wow.
How he's even walking and talking and functioning is a miracle. And that's common. These people are blind and they lose function in their bodies and they have to get adrenal glands removed. And I don't know why, you know, you ask yourself that when you find out news like this, like, why did this happen? Which is always the wrong way to go, but we're human, you know, it's what we ask. Like, God, why me? Why this? After being on The Voice, though, and I had an opportunity to share my story and was contacted by people around the world who were just ecstatic to hear that somebody on national television mentioned this. And I realized, like, who cares why? This is my why now. To have a voice for these people who don't have a voice. And, you know, the Lord has spared me the troubles that many have had, but I've been able to encourage them. I've been able, you know, a lot of them, how do you get through it? How do you stay positive? And I always go back, you know, it's my faith, it's God. And that peace that surpasses all understanding, sometimes you don't even realize what that means until you're in the heat, you know. You know, a couple discoveries through this story was obviously just coming to terms with how I identified myself, really, and honestly how much I had lived out of fear. I thought, you know, I didn't realize how fearful I was until I was faced with one of the most scary things a person can be faced with. And that comment of knowing where your identity is helped me face the fact, like, all my life I was always afraid. I was afraid of messing up. I was afraid of singing the wrong note. I was afraid of you know, someone would judge me for not doing what I was thought, you know, I was created to do right. I never thought of singing out of fear was a thing. I just thought I'd sing, but I was so meticulous. I would practice the song the same way every single time and make sure it was perfect every time. And, you know, my relationships, like, I lived fearfully because I maybe wouldn't allow people to get too close or get in the way of my career because I was afraid that a relationship could ruin that, or the thought of being a mother could ruin that, or, you know, I was just faced with a lot of really hard things and realized that was kind of what God was pulling me through. I was married and I told my husband, like, you know, I don't really think I want kids. I was so career driven. I thought kids are going to mess with my career. But in that hospital bed, I felt God say, like, wake up. There's more to life than this. And what I have for you is not just for you. It's a blessing for so many people around you. So stop living out of fear and let go and let me do my thing. And I'm constantly reminded that I'm not in control. I just went to an eye appointment a few days ago. I'm up there every 2 to 3 months. And I'm constantly reminded that I don't have a clue of how to run my life. And if I did, I would be a wreck. I would not be able to go to those appointments with a smile on my face and a thank you for the doctor, you know, a positive outlook no matter what the outcome is of those appointments. And I know that this situation has allowed God to bring me through some of that fear. It's made me a better person. I mean, I have 3 kids now. I didn't think I wanted kids, and now I have 3. And the blessing is amazing. And I haven't had to stop my career. The best things in my career have started after I had kids.
Wow.
Isn't that funny? Yeah, I thought that they would take me away. Granted, there's compromise, and that's scary. There's compromise, but, you know, what God had for me was way better than what I could have had planned. And I have to, you know, every day I'm a scared mom. I'm fearful that I'm not going to do it right. It's hard to be a mom. I'm afraid I'm not going to be the right mom, the Pinterest mom. I'm not the Pinterest mom. And, you know, I've discovered that as women, there's so much fear that we live in. And a lot of it's from comparison, and a lot of it's just trying to live up to be something that we could never be. And So if me going through this journey, if me going through this health thing for the rest of my life is going to help me live in more freedom, then so be it. And if I can use this to encourage people who believe in Jesus or not, then that's the goal. Like, I don't want anything else at this point. Like, I think my favorite thing out of this is the freedom in my worship. And as a worship leader, you know, I used to stand up there and just sing at the same time. I had that same guy who was our vocal director used to tell me, like, stop being so afraid. What are you afraid of? I'm like, I'm afraid of messing up. Well, why? You really think all those people are going to like look at you the next time they see you? That's the girl that messed up. No, they're especially in a church situation, they want to feel what you're feeling, and you're blocking that because you're so scared of messing up. You're keeping the blessing from them.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
So the freedom in life and in my worship and in singing, it's just a whole different level. When you've been through it and you've seen God show up and how he provides and realize he's faithful and that his plans are way better than ours, like, how can you not just, who cares if I mess up? As long as my heart's in the right place, there's going to be days I mess up as a parent, but the good Lord knows my heart and I love my kids, and they're going to, between me loving my kids and God's faithfulness and grace and mercy, they're going to be okay.
Absolutely.
And apply that for any situation, you know? So, I guess that's where I'm at today. I take my kids with me to the doctor, and this is the first time where I've really think my 5-year-old's starting to be like, why do we go here so much? Or what's wrong with your eye? And I took him in with me this time for them to do the pictures, and he's asking questions. And
wow,
you know, that makes me think. One thing I forgot to mention is typically this type of cancer is genetic. It's usually passed down, but we could not figure out where I got it from. Come to find out, they did a DNA test, and mine's just a variant. Basically, I'm a freak of nature. My body decided to just do its own thing and came up with this VHL thing. The good news is my kids had a 50-50 chance of having it. And just within the last year, I got them tested. And right now, neither the two older ones, I haven't had the baby tested, but they don't have it. And that was the best phone call I've probably had in my life. I was in tears when the doctor called, because, you know, I'll take this on for myself. I'll take this burden for myself. But the last thing I want is for my kids to go through it, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, my prayer is just that they can see Jesus through all of this. Like, you want to say, like, I want to be known as a strong woman and a warrior, but more than that, like, just let people see Jesus. Let people see him through me. I love the saying. I don't even know where it's from, because I have my scar in the back of my head is a big 7, which is kind of, you know,
that is cool.
But I love the saying of heal the wound, but leave the scar. So I'm reminded of how faithful you are. Like, so every time I'm brushing my hair, I'm like, oh, okay, I got to get my act together. Like, it's a reminder, you know.
Absolutely.
But anyway, that's
beautiful. I love how you've like traded in fear for freedom, and how that was woven through your whole story, because you're 100% right. Each and every one of us, myself, all of us watching, we all have mess ups. We all have tough stuff we walk through. And we can either walk through it with fear and clutching our fists angrily through it, or we can walk in freedom and see the beauty in the midst of the craziness. I love how you described that.
Yes.
So if you were sitting across from another woman, having coffee, hanging out, much like we are today, what would you say to encourage her on her own becoming journey?
I would just say, don't let fear control you. Don't let it rule your life. And it doesn't take a big leap of faith. It doesn't take God, you know, to make you go through brain surgery to get your attention. You know, it's one tiny leap of faith at a time, and it's one prayer at a time. Yeah. And if I could just get people to understand how amazing it is to live in that freedom and to let go of fear. Well, it's a constant battle. That, you know, it's a daily. Yeah. We can't just say, I'm done, Lord, take over, and we're like free. Right. But I just, you know, not only are we missing out on God's best for our lives and his plan for our lives, but the people around us are missing out on the blessing that we are to them. Yep. I can't be the best mom to my kids if I'm living in fear all the time. And I'm going to pass that fear down to them.
Right.
And I can't be the most effective worship leader, and my voice can't be used if I'm constantly, hiding in the corner, fearful.
Right.
God will still use us, but imagine the possibilities and imagine just how good it feels to know that you're just going to him with open hands on a minute by minute basis and saying, I'm not going to be afraid. I'm trusting you. I'm not going to. And every time I go to the doctor and I put my hand on that doorknob, I just say that I trust you, God. And the results are never fun. I'm doing this for the rest of my life. And if I think about it too much, I get crazy and emotional, which we're entitled to that from time to time.
Yeah.
But there's no other option for me than just to depend on God. And I say that, like, just trust him. He loves us so much. I loved when I was in surgery and I knew that I literally pictured my head laying in his hands, and just, there's something so comforting about that. So whatever it is, whether it's a health issue or a relationship issue or fearful of being the right mom, like, just picture him holding that and know that he loves you more than you love yourself, than anyone ever could. And the gaps where we mess up, as long as we're honest, he's just so good about filling in those gaps. I got a little soundtrack going on now with my phone.
You can do it. I love it.
That's a good moment for
exactly. We're dancing into freedom.
That's funny.
But I love what you were sharing, seriously, about it's that conscious choice of no matter what you're stepping into or what you're experiencing, that you just say, God, like, I trust you. And that's a choice to say that. It's not even a feeling per se. And I love how you even mentioned it's okay to feel sad or even afraid at times, but it's what we do next with how we're feeling that really matters. And I love watching how you're walking through that with that. Okay, God, I trust you.
Yeah.
I trust you.
It's not easy. And I'm not perfect. There are moments when I get angry, about my condition, about seeing my friends and family battle cancer and other things. And I get mad, but it's all he wants. He wants our honesty. He wants our honesty, and he wants our brokenness. Yeah. And that's where we shine most and are most beautiful and are most effective with whatever he's given us. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway,
I feel like until you are willing, and for all of us, until we're willing and open to sit with our brokenness and be like, this is who I am, like, that's when we start becoming. When we're trying to have this perfect facade and be the Pinterest girl, it's just, you can't take steps forward. You're stuck in this, picture of what you're trying so hard to be. But when we truly just sit with who we are, and trust God through the stuff we don't get, that's the beauty of becoming.
Exactly. Yeah. Becoming fearless, becoming free. And it's, I love, we're in a day of reality TV, which is not usually so real, that I learned quickly on The Voice. A lot of it's set up, but this is why I appreciate you and what you do, and why I was so excited to reach out to you, because I knew this is where I can share me.
Yeah.
And I don't have to be scripted, and I don't have to, say a certain thing, but exactly. Lord willing, if I can just share my journey, then one person is encouraged, then my job is done. So
absolutely. Well, I definitely know more than one is encouraged, because I am so encouraged.
Good. Thank you.
We want music back.
Yes.
Too good. Well, seriously, Emily, thank you so much for just sharing your story with us and who you are, and just the journey that you've been on. And dude, thanks for joining us too. Your mom's a rock star. Your mom is so cool. Make sure you give her extra big hugs, and give her a hug for me, because since I'm in Florida and I can't give her a hug. Okay.
Are you my mom's friend?
I am your mom's friend.
Yeah, she is my friend.
Yeah, we're warrior friends.
Warrior friends, isn't that cool?
Because we like to flex our muscles.
We do.
Do you want to be our special helper and help us close out our interview with your mom?
Do you want to help us close out the interview that we just did?
All we have to do is be like, see you later.
I do. Bye.
I knew you'd be awesome at that. Well, everybody,
Yes.
thank you for watching Emily's story. And Emily, thank you so much for sharing. And dude, thanks for being our helper. You're the best ever. And for those of you watching, you can connect with Emily on social media. We'll have all the links in this post. But make sure to encourage her and say thanks for sharing her story. And I know she would love to encourage you too. So Emily, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It was so fun, Emily. I appreciate you and everything you're doing.
Thank you.